For question number 8, I'm going to talk about the factors that affect enzyme activity in our bodies. There are 4 of them. It includes temperature, pH, enzyme concentration, and substrate concentration. So temperature affects enzyme activity because as we increase in temperature, the enzymes or molecules in our body begin to gain kinetic energy, so they begin to slowly work faster and faster. So as we increase temperature, the rate of reaction begins to increase until we hit this optimal temperature where enzymes are working their fastest. And as soon as temperature continues to increase past that, enzymes begin to denature or stop working. And so temperature in our body, if it keeps increasing, then there is a certain point in which enzymes will stop working. But as that temperature begins to increase slowly, those enzymes in the beginning begin to gain kinetic energy, and they begin to work faster and faster in the reactions. They hit that optimal temperature, work their fastest, and then they begin to denature and stop working. For pH affecting enzyme activity, there is an optimal pH where the enzymes work their best, which means there is a certain number of hydrogens present where enzymes can work efficiently and the most effectively. And the number of hydrogens depends on where you are in the body, because number of hydrogens in the stomach is different than in the muscle and is different in the brain. So it just depends on where you are in the body. And a significant change in pH can cause an enzyme to lose its optimal shape and function. So that is why when we reach a high enough pH or a low enough pH, depending on where the area in the body is, the enzyme itself begins to not work as effectively and decreases its activity levels because it is not its proper shape anymore and it cannot function properly anymore. For enzyme concentration affecting enzyme activity, when we have an increase in enzyme concentration, we have a linear increase in the rate of reactions. And this is because when we have more enzymes, we can have more and faster reactions because we have all the substrates floating around. They can bind to the enzyme. So as long as we have, as long as we have a bunch of enzymes, then all those substrates can keep binding and attaching to the enzyme itself, so the enzyme can continue to keep having those reactions. So there's a linear increase in enzyme activity if the concentration of enzymes continue to increase as long as there are substrates available. And the 4th factor affecting enzyme activity is the concentration of substrates. If the concentration of substrates continues to increase, then we'll have an increase in the rate of reaction to a certain point. And that point is the point of saturation. This is when all the enzymes have the total or max amount of substrates that they can have binded to them. So no matter how much we increase the concentration of substrates, there are no binding sites left on the enzymes. And so once we hit that point of saturation, we begin to plateau off. So increased substrates have those enzymes binding, we hit that point of saturation, and then we plateau off because there are no more sites on enzymes for that substrate to bind to. So overall, those 4 factors are temperature. When we increase temperature, we increase the rate of reaction until that optimal point. When we hit, then we begin to denature. We have pH, which you have to be at the optimal pH for enzymes to work, and when you hit too high of a pH, the enzymes begin to not be the right structure and functions, so they don't work properly in the body. The 3rd is enzyme concentration. When we have an increase in enzyme concentration, we have a linear increase in rate of reaction as long as we have substrates available. And the 4th one being substrate concentration, as we increase substrate concentration, we will increase the rate of reaction until we hit that point of saturation where there are no more binding sites left on the enzymes to have substrates to bind to.